Thanks for coming here, and I will welcome on stage my panelists. So Lorenzo, who is working for the Luxembourg Sustainable Finance Initiative, who is the Deputy CEO. Julie Millot, who is working for Clearstream and a specialist in ESG. Then we have Yves ELOMO from DIVIZEND, and David Durouchoux, who is the Deputy CEO of Forge Societe Generale. So thank you all for joining me. So for this panel, I wanted to give you a little bit of background. We have actually worked with the LhoFT on a report where we examine the impact of the DLT technology within the sustainable finance world. And here are four experts that worked with us on the topic. And I will start with the first question for Julie. How important is it to raise awareness and promote sustainability competencies among financial professionals? Is it, and as well for policymakers and the general public, to drive the transition towards a more sustainable economy? Is it something that is important, and how is it done?
Thank you very much. Only for having this afternoon with such a heat. If we don't do anything, this will continue. So let's do something. So I think you're quite familiar with the subject because you're here today. And I will start with facts. If we don't do anything, we will have 1.6 Earths. This is our actual annual consumption according to United Nations. So we do need to do something. A few years ago, Mark Carney, who was back then in England, the governor for the bank, said that all the companies that will not be able to integrate the sustainability will go bankrupt, and this is fact. So bringing now more to your question on what could we do, and I think I would like to, as today is an exploration as part of our panel, to do a parallel between sustainability and DLT. 2-3 years ago, sustainability had no data, no clarity, no accuracy, and no standards. This is what we are facing at the moment with DLT, the challenges, and I think we could really benefit from having this conversation all together and making the bridge between sustainability and DLT. Thanks.
Thank you for this. Lorenzo, you are active in the Luxembourg Sustainable Finance Initiative. And we've seen that you have numerous working groups, and this is an initiative that is supported by the Ministry of Finance. We are wondering, because in this report we speak about the greenwashing and the fact that we hear more and more people questioning the reporting that they see, whether it's really green. Is it an observation you make as well within your initiative? And is it a concern for the investors?
Thank you very much, Emilie, first of all, for having me on this panel today.
Closer.
Can you hear me? Yes, better. Well, of course, greenwashing is something which is more and more important and a topic which is raised by a lot of investors in the financial industry. We all know the definition which is given by ESMA about greenwashing, which is a practice where sustainability-related actions or communication do not clearly reflect the underlying sustainable profile of an entity or a financial product. We absolutely respect this definition, but we do not like too much to talk about greenwashing because it implies a willingness of a company to give false or misleading information. So let's put aside for a moment this negative, let's put it this way, definition. But it is true that investors today demand more and more transparency just to avoid this greenwashing. And here it comes blockchain and DLT actually, because with the implementation and the use of blockchain in finance, actually, we can companies can guarantee the the transparency and traceability of ESG data, and therefore these can make easier to spot eventual inconsistencies. The use of DLT and blockchain can help then in creating standardized metrics on sustainability reporting. Just to be concrete, one example could be green bond issuance and tracking, actually. So blockchain in this case can track the allocation and use of proceeds raised by the issuer and ensuring that they are spent for the project that were announced at the moment of the issuance.
Thank you for this. And now we'll raise the same, a different question for David and Yves. As we mentioned, DLT is often associated with transparency, accountability, and it's bringing new confirmation of data for the investors. Do you believe it can be leveraged in the case of sustainable finance practices? And what are the cases that you're observing in your business? So maybe Yves, if you want to start.
Sure. So thank you for having me. So one practical case, because I'm from DIVIZEND, we are doing withholding taxes on cross-border dividends. And for those who are not aware of the topic, for example, let's take the case of France. In France, you need a full chain of payment, because when you receive your dividend, for example, your securities can be stored to the custodian if you are lucky, or to the sub-custodian, or you can also have like 3 to 5 custodians. So you have to give the full proof of all those custodians. If not, the French authority will not pay you back your dividends. So it's a real business issue for us, and we are using DLT with another partner in Switzerland to solve it, because it's important not only for the tax authority not to pay people twice, because you can recall maybe Cumex scandals, but also for the investors not to be able to reclaim their money, because they cannot go singly to each sub-custodian and ask to the documents. So the solution of what we are seeing or what we are building will be to share a DLT with all the sub-custodians, and then we can have the information there, so it's easy for everyone. Then we save money and time. So thank you.
Ouais, donc regarding what we do in Societe Generale, we are serving our clients in structuring and issuing products. And we are as well a trading room. And as a bank, as a trading room, etc., our role is to structure financial products. And this business is highly relying on market data and the way we can collect, analyze data for the market and at the market wide. It's not one bond here and the other. It's at the market wide. So it's a tremendous volume of data. So the question for us is, how do we collect this data? How do we make it accessible for our clients? Because they have to expose a part of their data, and how do we make them available for the markets, for the sell side, and then the buy side, who finally buy the product and analyze it and make a choice between the bond A and the bond B. So that's really a matter of traceability of data, ability to collect and transform and make it in a standardized way. And in that respect, we have a numerous example of financial association doing a lot of work to structure this data, to issue frameworks, etc. And I think that the blockchain-based product can not only represent the product itself and help transfer it, buy it, price it, etc., but as well convey this data, if it is in a structured and in an appropriate format, to the buy side, who then can take a good decision. And precisely here, the traceability of DLT solutions for me is really a key in this ESG space. And if I can add something, maybe if we take a step back, the problem of the ESG finance is maybe how do we bridge the physical data with the financial world. The financial world works on data which is very well structured, etc. Bon. The problem with ESG is that we have to transform, je sais pas, a windmill, solar panel, dam, production, etc. And that's very complex, because the physical world is complex. So we have to reduce and narrow down all these physical KPIs into something which is understandable by the financial world. And that's really a problem for us today. And I think that blockchain here can bring, via traceability solution, really a plus.
That brings the question of the legacy systems and the interoperability. That's always the terms that we hear when we speak about DLT, financial institutions. What are the key challenges when you want to integrate DLT into sustainable finance products? And so you try to figure out, and you explain a little bit, David, on how to actually transfer and translate the terms into the finance world. Julie, what is your take on this at Clearstream?
Yes, at Clearstream, the post-trading leg of the Börse, we have the same challenges. And this can be overcome by having standardization. With ESG, we now have upcoming the CSRD. It's a regulation that will force first all the European companies to disclose about 1,000 data points on financial and non-financial. So this is the first step in the right direction. We will have data available, verifiable, and leveraging on what you said, they will have the traceability. With using DLT, having this unique source of data that can be verified by any user of the chain, that can be a huge leverage into what DLT, and making the bridge between the legacy and to the DLT world.
And Yves, what are the ethical considerations, such as the energy consumption, the transaction speed? What can they be addressed when you want to figure out whether you should use DLT or not?
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe also following up on what Julie said at the beginning with the first question, we have to do something. And we see DLT could be the solution, but it comes also with some problem, as we mentioned, some ethical consideration. Between those, we can talk about energy consumption. It would be maybe the number one. So for energy consumption, we can switch protocols. So from proof of work, we can use proof of stake, or we can use proof of authority. We can use delegate proof of stake, and maybe a BF Byzantine fault. So we have different ways we can use it. On top of it or below it, we can also use different energy, less energy resources like hydro, like water, like solar. We have many examples, like we have them in Ethiopia on the Blue Nile. It's already functioning, and there are many data centers from China there, and they are really leveraging that project. We have other example with a company called Hydro Miner. Is also their data center are close to the water. So we have solutions, but we need to investigate and see which one are business-wise and also environmentally wise could be the solution for the long term. And another point could be an ethical consideration. Always we have GDPR, so it's always data privacy and security. But this also could be the case for semi-public or public DLT, because people will say, okay, my data is there, maybe I don't want everyone to know about it, so what do we do? But for it also, I think there are already some proven solution, like zero proof, and like some advanced technique, some advanced cryptographic technique like zero proof knowledge. So maybe you can also add as an ethical consideration, maybe the barrier for entry, because it's costly to build all those infrastructures, or you need also a lot of knowledge. So for me, those are the main 3 points which could be some of the ethical consideration around 30 years.
David, when we discussed about the report, initially you were really interested in the topic of reporting. How do you believe DLT can actually help in the reporting process regarding the regulations in place or which are coming? Can you maybe elaborate on that?
Oh, sure. But it's following the question you asked me just beforehand. DLT has to do a lot with traceability and the way we structure data. Concretely, how to do that? But first, we have to have a standard at the industry level which is accepted, which is defined, accepted, etc. Donc, there was this report that you are speaking of. It's part of this work, which is done among the financial sector to collect the data which are needed for the asset managers to take a decision. And we have seen as well a very good work via the ICMA. We have been since many months working with ICMA Group, which is issuing frameworks on which we can rely on to publish this data. And this structured approach with panels of banks, panel of buy side, etc., in the industry, taking it very seriously, speaking to each other, etc., is very important, because we cannot imagine that a specific standard and a specific offer from one bank or one FMI or one startup will win at the end. It will not happen like that. We are in a diverse world where people have to share information, not to win on a specific framework. And here, this work takes time. So we have to let this time flow, to let the time for the industry to speak between his group, his members, and then issue something. Even if it is minimal, it's still a win for us to have issued something which is in common that we can share. And I think that it's part, let's say, of the value added that we can see in Bloomberg, for instance. I don't want to advertise any specific company, but Bloomberg, in a sense, is standardizing a way of conveying data. Voilà. Donc the standards, we have to define something like that, and progressively, but this standard will evolve, etc. And what is very important is that everyone has access to a standard. It's open source, and that precisely the blockchain world is open source. Donc it's open source, and anyone can use it, including fintech, including individuals, etc. And this will be a win for a collective win. I mean, for the banking industry.
I see. And Julie, how can the DLT innovation drive the rise to new products, financial one that supports environmentally friendly and socially impactful projects?
Thanks. Bouncing back on what Yves said, we were talking about energy consumption. Actually, there is a lot of progress that is made on data center, and yes, it's a critique, but the opportunity, it is doing better and better. The DLT are progressing on making it better. Anyway, we'll do business, but we have to do business together. So maybe 3 examples of ESG, the environmental, social, and governance. On the E side, at Clearstream, for those who are Luxembourg knowledgeable, we are digital infrastructure. We have a project that is D7, and we intend to digitalize the securities, and we calculated the amount of paper, and we reached 10 tons of paper saved if we manage to digitalize, which is the number per year, and this number is already on our side, and then this could impact the market. So having small impact and then to have it propagated is what we all want to reach. On the S side, an example would be how we are, thanks to DLT, having the possibility to reach to investors that are many more players than today don't have access to it, and that's making a real change. And on the governance side, I mentioned earlier, having this transparency of information, a unique source that can be verified, and finally, everything that is under press at the moment, that there is problem to verify the green and the shadow financing of green thing. With DLT, every user of the nodes is able to verify that information, and it could be a real added value.
Lorenzo, you are in the middle of the ecosystem between sustainability and financial institutions. The regulatory framework evolves for DLT in the coming months. It also evolves in the field of sustainability. How can DLT solutions can help the financial institutions in their quest to be compliant with these new regulations in the sustainable fields, such as the EU Sustainable Finance Disclosure Regulation and the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures? What is your take? What is your thoughts on the on the impact of DLT.
Thank you, Emilie. We are a non-profit organization which was founded in 2020 by the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Environment, Climate and Biodiversity, Luxembourg for Finance. And of course, our mission is to create awareness about sustainability in the financial sector and to help the financial sector in the implementation of it. A major topic is, of course, regulation, because implementing it in the right way is complicated. Is a really tough task for financial institutions, but of course it is paramount also to create, and I come back to what we were talking about, trust from investors and the market in general. You have cited SFDR and TCFD, two regulations that of which objective is to enhance transparency actually and accountability. And here again we come back to the own features of blockchain and DLT. And so I can refer to what my fellow panelists have said during these last minutes. Using blockchain can help in ensure the integrity and the transparency of ESG data. Using blockchain can facilitate an efficient third-party verification of the data themselves. It enables real-time reporting. And then it can help the adoption of standards and methodology for sustainability reporting, which could make easier to compare different financial products and also coming from different jurisdictions. One thing to take into account, which is very, very important, is that all those regulations, which are already complex by nature, are also in constant evolution. And just an example, we can talk about SFDR and the new requirements which will come into effect in January 2025 about the PAI or the do not significant harm disclosure. So in order to cope with these changes, of course, DLT could have a major role. Just to be concrete, to make another example, as I did before, of application of blockchain, one could be about sustainable investment funds. In fact, by recording the portfolio on the blockchain and tagging its investments sustainability credentials, those credentials can be very easily and in real time verified by both investors and the regulator.
Thanks for this clarification, Lorenzo. Yves, let's move away a little bit from the financial institutions world and go to the more supply chain environments, because I think when you invest into a product or a financial instruments or in a fund, you might want to know who is behind, what is the company, and how is their supply chain active in the sustainability field. How can DLT help, and is there any technology that is helpful in that next to DLT?
Yes, DLT is definitely helpful, but I think I will start first with what David mentioned. We need everyone on the table. We need also flexibility. We can maybe use blockchain as a service where we can interlink blockchain, and we have to put all the stakeholders, be it regulators, be it investors, be it private individuals, to the table and see first, okay, let's define which criteria we're going to use, because we move maybe too fast, which is good, because it's first now that we have to think, okay, how to do it better, because in the sense that we cannot just give already the ESG scoring, but we have to do the homework first. So the homework will be, let's see which criteria we're going to use, and maybe also we can segment it also this per industry, so it's easier. And for the supply chain, it will be easier, because then you can have the end-to-end visibility. Everyone can see what is happening using DLT. Another big advantage would be there's no immutability, so you cannot change any data anymore because it's inside the chain. So it will definitely build trust. It will bring a huge advantage. And I think another point would be also interesting would be enforcement with maybe we can use some smart contracts. Let's say in the case of some supply chain for investment fund, we can decide, okay, we have some smart contracts. When we reach certain criteria, we predefine before it can validate the contract, and then we move forward. So I think those could be, in my view, some point where we can leverage, and I think it's possible. We just need to work all together. That's the main
And in
point.
the case of Scope 4, I guess there is the use of IoT and AI that could also add even more value to
It would definitely
DLT.
help to have real-time data and to move faster. So it will definitely help, yeah.
Okay. We are nearly to the end of our panel, and I think I will ask the question to all of you. It relates to education. We can see that there is a lot of initiatives at the level of small education when kids are still kids. We have various programs as well in the education of academia and as well as professionals. Is there a way that these programs can actually have an impact on the way we will think about the financial products, on the investment strategies in the future? And how do you think we should act upon that? Who wants to go first?
I will. Thank you, Emilie. Well, education is of paramount importance. One of the missions of the LSFI is also about education, and we tackle both retail investors and institutional ones. So we cover both normal people like us or professionals. Without education, we cannot think about raising awareness, in my opinion, and this definitely is crucial in order to develop a demand of financial products coming from the end client, and therefore to push institutions to create new products to respond to this kind of demand.
Okay, so we're doing the line. So maybe I can add, just as I mentioned already, the ethical consideration. So for me, education is definitely also an ethical consideration, because not everyone have access to education, and but it's really central. People need to know what they are talking about, be it student, be it bankers, be it investor, be it no matter the industry, because ESG is everywhere. So we need to learn, we need to share knowledge between us, we need to form. Maybe it would be good if we can start with young kids, it's better, so they have more time to have some knowledge, better knowledge, and be prepared to more tackle. I think for me, in that sense, education is the basic ground we need to step on before moving forward.
So if you haven't melted yet, you're still here, so it's time to go for action. I will quote Oriane and Emilie on the white paper. Education is the seed of sustainable future. Today was, I hope you learned something out of this panel, that there is linkage and that it's time to act on it. And the education was the first way in that direction.
Well, you told us about kids growing old, etc. I think it's very important, and just beyond the educational aspect, with going to school, working well, learning things, I think, which is very important, especially in a world where the immaterial value is so important. So that's clearly very important. In Societe Generale Forge, we have a curriculum with Polytechnique, and we have donc we are fully dedicated to that. You need really a high level into mathematics for doing cryptography. Donc, I think that the science itself is very important. There is another point which is very important as well, and which should not be neglected, especially if you live in a city. In France, 70% of people are living in a city or nearby. So if you want to take care about the planet, etc., you have to experience it, I mean, in your flesh. And that's very important as well, that you don't just stay and go to in front of Netflix or going to McDonald's or je sais pas quoi. You have to go as well within the countryside and show to your kids that countryside is very beautiful, and it's part as well of the education we can bring concretely and deeply rooted with the feet in the mud.
We were speaking actions, so we will publish a report in the coming days. It will be soon available. We were speaking action, education. Is there anything right now that is missing and that you think we should act upon to make it like, why didn't we make it before? And that will definitely push forward the sustainability finance field.
Besides money, now having the support of you, of the financial institutions, of the regulation, the standards, that is the good direction to go through.
I think what is important as well is delivering something achievable and operational. The problem is when you have something which is too complex, you miss your target, because as you have too much complexity, your client do not like it because it's very costly in terms of implementation, understanding, consulting firm or whatever, or even analysis. When you have ESG framework which are very complex, for asset managers, it's a cost for them to do so. Donc, we should start probably small, have a limited goals, but manage to reach them concretely, and then we will increase globally the level of everyone, not just one or two firms here and there.
I think maybe I can add also infrastructure. So let's see, no matter the field, we need to have infrastructure, and in every tech, even AI you mentioned before, there's hardware, there's software. So for DLT also, we need to make sure we can have infrastructure to have a sustainable hardware for DLT. So that means we have water, we have sun, we have solar. Maybe not in Luxembourg every day, but we have desert throughout the world. So I think we have to leverage also that part. It's part of the. We will not have the bread if you don't have the wheat. So for me, it's also important to have infrastructure per region, per country. I don't know how you want to put it, but we need infrastructure definitely.
Definitely, the help of technology will speed up things, above all in the implementation of regulation, as I was saying before, but also in finding new financial products and so on and so forth. On this topic, and since we are at a fintech event, I would like to remind that the LSFI is partnering with the LhoFT for the Catapult Green Tech program that will be held in the mid-September, and so for the benefit of the startups attending right now the event, do not hesitate to apply. We need you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your insight. Do not leave yet, because we will be joined on stage by Oriane. We will give you the real insight and takeaways of the report that will be published. Already a lot of insights were shared with our 4 panelists. You can applaud them because it was really interesting, and thank you for your insights. And now I welcome on stage Oriane. Vas-y, monte. Je te laisse. Merci. So Oriane, if you do not know her yet, she is the research manager at the LhoFT, and we like to produce reports based on the needs from the market with the LhoFT and the lab. So here are some of the key takeaways that we have from the report.
Yes, so maybe it has been said earlier, but yeah, I'll keep finding out. So first we have these limited views of super tech tools. And what is this super tech tools? Okay. What is this? Super tech tools. They are advanced technological. So let's begin again. So one of our key findings is the limited use of super tech tools. So they are advanced technological solutions like AI, blockchain, and IoT, and they enhance data quality, accuracy, and reporting in sustainable finance. And they integrate ESG factors into financial decision making with improved transparency and efficiency. And they may prove essential for obtaining high quality data and accurate reporting. We also have the training and change management, so those with adherence to industry standards and best practices are crucial for maximizing the benefits of optimized systems. And they ensure that new technologies are effectively integrated and utilized to their full potential. For education, of course, it is essential for understanding and navigating the evolving landscape of sustainable finance. And they the education promotes informed decision making and adoption of best practices. So why is DLT a transformative technology? First, we have the data integrity. It ensures accuracy and trustworthiness of financial data. Then we have the immutability. It prevents tampering and guarantees data consistency. We have the transparency, of course. It enhances visibility of financial transaction and project impacts. And finally, we have the real-time data access. It provides instant updates and insights into financial activities.
And you will tell me, what about energy consumption? I guess it's one of the biggest topic. We had it when we had the discussions with Micah, whether we should directly forbid the use of one specific technology over another. I think what is quite interesting to know is that it's an evolving technology. We are not speaking now of a technology that is set in the cement and that will not evolve. I would say that all the developers are taking into account what the developments can be, and there are a lot of consensuses. That's the way we call when you actually validate the transactions on a DLT, and they are trying to make it more and more sustainable, more and more environmentally friendly. To do so, though, we have the proof of stake, which has been improved with Ether and Ethereum, where they had this proof of stake number 2 or 2.0, where 99% of the energy consumption was diminished. So we are speaking of a really limited consumption right now. So there is a lot of research, which is quite interesting because research is the key in the field of DLT. If you look into these numbers from the Cambridge Center of Digital Assets, you can see that Ethereum's annual electricity usage is approximately 16 days of the University of Cambridge. And if you compare the Bitcoin mining to the gold mining, it's approximately the same consumption usage. I'm curious to know, and I know it's difficult because right now I'm speaking and you're wearing headphones, but I'm curious to know when you use ChatGPT, or when you send an email saying, oh, should we have lunch? Or when you just delete a spam, are you actually questioning how much of energy consumption is it? No, because to you there is a use in ChatGPT, you do your prompt and you have directly the concrete things. Still, ChatGPT, it's doubling its energy consumption every 2 months. And it's not ending, and I don't hear anything about how they could improve this usage. Still, people use it. They don't question it. While for DLT, it's a different story. Maybe we're not having enough concrete examples and applications yet.
So we also have a huge part on regulations because we have these constant updates in sustainable finance, as you may know. So now I'm talking about the recent proposals from the ESAs, the European Supervisory Authorities. They aim to refine the RTS of SFDR. And the focus areas include simplification of SDR annexes, introduction of a dashboard for key information, and tailored disclosure requirements for various financial products. So for the dashboards, how is DLT useful? Well, the dashboard aims at key sustainability information, and if you have DLT-based dashboards, they can automate real-time data aggregation and display, ensuring accuracy and accessibility. For the do not significant harm principle, there is a proposal to integrate this principle into the website disclosures directly, setting thresholds and criteria for PAA principal adverse impact indicators. And in this case, DLT ensures secure, tamper-proof, and verifiable sustainability data, and it enhances trust in DNSH claims. So for the new PAA indicators that I just mentioned, we have these mandatory and optional social PAA indicators covering various areas alongside adjustment to existing indicators. And DLT can facilitate verification through smart contracts, automating data collection, calculation, and of course reporting. For the GHG emissions reduction targets, for financial products with this kind of emission reduction targets, we have new detailing reporting requirement and progress tracking. And DLT can offer robust tracking and reporting, provided transparent and indisputable evidence of performance. Now, for the MiCA regulation, the market in crypto asset regulation, it aims for increased transparency and regulatory clarity in crypto assets. It is particularly relevant for tokens linked to sustainable finance assets, and it enhances transparency to bolster trust. And it is particularly relevant, MiCA promotes digital assets adhering to sustainability standards, requiring issuers to disclose environmental impacts. And in this case, DLT supports accurate, immutable data recording, enhancing trust and efficiency in green financing processes.
And last but not least, in this report, you have the chance to observe or to read more about the real application of DLT in the world of sustainable finance. We mentioned it quite a lot in the discussions of the panel, but it enables real-time tracking of social and environmental outcomes. Here, I'm always speaking in terms of vertical and not silos, because a lot of people tend to think, okay, one technology, one application. Stop thinking like this. Let's move and let's apply different technologies at the same time. They are even more powerful. AI, DLT, IoT, they are the perfect couple and they can deliver great things. So definitely data accuracy would be transparent and immutable and actually correct, because they are captured directly by the sensors. So the fact that they are directly captured by the sensors, put in the DLT, and then transferred to the investors to make their decision, well, you have the perfect supply chain of data. Then you have as well the carbon credit market. It's often kind of mentioned it is illiquid and untransparent. Well, here we are seeing right now a lot of interest in the carbon credit market to solve this issue of illiquidity and to provide more transparency and ensures that the right people or the right companies should actually invest in the right carbon credit. And then we have, especially in Luxembourg, quite a lot of initiatives in the green bonds. We had Societe Generale, we had the EIB, we also have the SEB, Kaesmann, all are active in the field, and even if it's only experimentation, it shows that it's working. And if it's working, why are we not more investing into it? So these are all kind of explanations and applications of the DLT you could find in the report. It will be available in the coming days on our website, and you can already register to get it as soon as it's out. I would like to thank you very much for your attention. I know it's quite late and it's quite warm here. Yeah. So thank you very much. I hope you learned something and that you will have a good read of the report. Thank you to all our contributors to the report, all our panelists, and we wish you a nice afternoon.
Thank you very
much. Bye-bye.
Bye.